Well, welcome to this week's edition of In the Pocket, all thanks to Palmerbet. And, the big man, he's up and about, Spider, isn't it?
I am up and about. Well, we're just going through our tips over the weekend. And, gee, I thought you did well. I thought, you got 7 out of 9. I thought that is pretty good. But
No.
I read it the wrong way.
Reverse, mate. 2 out of 9, big fella. The only two I got. Fremantle and Melbourne. So me Dockers have been unbelievable for me this year. 2 out of 9. And you, mate, you were a pass mark. Geelong, Fremantle, Melbourne, and Brisbane. It was a tough round last weekend, obviously, for all.
Well, I doubled you.
You doubled me, mate.
I doubled you, but it was a tough, and I know you're going to go through them, but when you look back now, when you go, Collingwood against the Bombers hadn't beaten a top 4, top 8 side. Collingwood starting to, same thing, hold down Dacos, and everybody would go, they're mad if they don't tag Dacos now. So, and that really upsets the Brownlow betting too. So there's so many other factors to that. So, of course, Collingwood, then the Suns, North Melbourne getting over the Suns. That was, it's an omen bet. For those who went out there and backed the omen bet, haven't won in Melbourne, congratulations, well done, because Dimmer after the game, Port Adelaide and the Dogs,
it's
funny, isn't it?
It goes to show, though, doesn't it? Like form lines spied, like horse form lines, or they actually do stand up, don't they? And the form line last week, obviously the Suns not winning away from home. We had it with Brisbane last year. I think you've got to actually take it seriously, don't you?
Well, you have to now. And that's hard because, I kind of look at my tips this weekend, and you have to go in form. The Bombers are in form. Yeah. We see that, there's certain, and I think we said it plenty of times at the start of the year or the end of last year, it's not who you play, it's when you're playing.
Yeah, that's right.
So
you were big on this last year, Spide. Yeah, spot on.
So you got to be careful. But anyway, there we go. You got 2.
Didn't it get you up and about?
We keep going. Soon as I knew. I was a bit flat thinking you got 7. I thought, geez, on fire this week. And then when you explained to me, no, the red's no good, I was like, that's right. Yeah.
Hey, listen, let's go back and put the bad and the ugly. Got a big show to get through. And the good. The Pies and the Bombers, they put on another absolute cracker, of course. Anzac Day, they had that magnificent draw. It was another ripping game Friday night. Bombers now sitting in 4th position on the ladder. Pies in 9th. Do they both play final spot? And the current odds, all thanks to Palmerbet, the Bombers $1.20. They were at $2 not that long ago to make the 8. Pies now at $1.91 to make the 8. They might be the spot.
Well, you wouldn't expect Collingwood to miss. You'd be very surprised for them to miss, but then somebody's got to come out. So realistically, all you need to do is, if Port Adelaide win this weekend, the Suns are pretty much, you expect them gone. Port Adelaide nearly a lock. So, Brisbane, you wouldn't expect to miss it from here. So the only other side to come out is the Cats. Now, I don't know if, the Giants, but it's still going to be tough. I don't know.
It's a massive game. Friday night footy's huge.
Yeah.
It's a true 8-point game, Collingwood and Geelong. That is the big game.
Yeah. You can nearly say if they win on Friday night, they make finals.
Yeah. Whoever wins will make finals. I'm with you on that one. Hey, Spy, what about the bad? The top 2 sides go down. So the Swans and the Blues go down in close games. The Blues were all over the Giants early. Swannies had plenty of opportunities. I think they kicked 2 or 3-9 in the second half. That's back-to-back losses for Sydney. We have spoken about it. It's a long year. It's hard to keep yourself up for that entire season, isn't it?
Oh, it's hard to keep yourself up, but I think Sydney would pride themselves on keeping themselves alive and keeping themselves up. Yeah, there are a couple of games clear. You sit there and take your foot off, but they're not taking the foot off. They're getting beaten. And, there's no doubt they go out there to win these games. So at the moment, they just haven't got enough avenues. You kind of watch the Swans, and look, the Saints are very hard to play against. They're very defensive. They shut you down. They don't allow you to play that running game that we know that Gordon and the Lizard and Heaney and all these blokes can play. So you kind of sit there and go, the Saints have done a really good job. I reckon they're lucky to hold on. They kicked, a lot of points, the Swans. So a little bit stiff, but you know what? They still got the win, the Saints. So, the top 2 teams going down. Carlton, the hardest one is you don't want to hit a form slump going into the finals.
Yeah.
So,
You notice
you
those
want
sides,
to,
don't they? They have training blocks too, don't they? So there's going to be teams at the moment that might be going and doing a little bit extra on the track that flattens them a little bit for game day.
yeah, you could say that, but that's mainly close to the finals. But, these days they rest, where they're sitting, they can rest a couple of players as well. So I just don't think that. I think they actually got beaten. I thought the Saints played them beautifully, and I thought, the Giants played Carlton beautifully as well. They were up and about early, but suddenly Toby Green's starting to get his hand on it. They were without Josh Kelly and a couple of others. So I'd be more nervous to play. Who are you more nervous to play against this weekend? That's probably your answer, Carlton or GWS.
Yeah, no, good call, mate. Hey, listen, the ugly. And we have to talk about your Gold Coast Suns, mate. You are the unofficial mayor up there. Once again, they lose on the road. All right. So they're 8-0 at home at People's First Stadium and in the Northern Territory. They are now 0-7 in away games this year. Will they make the 8? They're currently at $3.80, all thanks to Palmerbet, to make finals. Dimmer gave them a fairly solid after the game. That's one of the better
ones. He's got to grow up. He's got to grow up, he says.
He wasn't happy, was he? What's the feeling like up there, Spine?
Oh, look, disappointment. 100% disappointment. You couldn't get Dimmer, didn't want a bar of it, which is fair enough. But at the same time, I think you should be fronting the media. I love coaches that, you do wrong, but, they're in a situation where they cannot win away from home. It's sad. And these hoodoos, these monkeys on your back continue to grow, because I know for a fact, and it's no different to McDonald having the shot for Sydney with only a minute to go or 30 seconds. Missed it last week. This week, I would have been the first one walking past and go, yeah. You missed it last week. What are you going to do this week? Same with the Suns. As soon as they play away from home, if we kick the first goal, I'd be going, here we go again, boys. Get away from home. Like, it's just a natural thing. So, this is a collie wobbles all over again. Yeah. The collie wobbles, they've dug it up from Victoria Park and brought it out because it's a tough one, because mentally all you talk about when you're on the plane on the way down there, you try not to make reference to it in your team meetings, but it always comes up. The press always talk about it. You're always surrounded. So then suddenly you believe it.
Yeah, I reckon you got to face it. I reckon you got to go, righto, boys. Yeah. Everyone's talking about it. It's not the elephant in the room. We all know it. We've got to do it. We've got to win. And they had a perfect opportunity against the bottom place team last weekend to do that and to get the monkey off the back. And they would have set their back half of the season up. So they've missed an opportunity, and I'd be disappointed if I was a Gold Coast Suns fan.
Well, absolutely. Shattered. And then you saw that after the game with Dimmock, because he knows how much this means. This could cost him the 8. Lose against Port Adelaide this weekend. There goes pretty much your finals 8 on the back of one loss to North Melbourne, who would have, in the other way, Clarko would have set it up like their grand final and said, boys, there's a side that's gettable away from home.
Yeah.
We know they're a bit suspect. Let's hit them. Let's continue keep hitting, just keep hitting. You keep it, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Did that win the game.
Hey, listen, spoke about our tipping. Your best bet, you went 1 from 3, big fella. Bulldogs at the line, Gold Coast at the line, Melbourne at the line, you got up. Okay, that was F is not a dirty word. It is for Gold Coast Sun supporters.
Yeah, well, Dimmer summed it up for me.
Yeah, absolutely summed it up. And we can't swear on here, though.
I'm not swearing.
The other big show, GWS Giants. So Josh Kelly didn't play. Chasey at 2+ goals. So North from 1 there with Kelly not playing. And me, I don't even want to talk about it, mate. 1 from 3. I've had a bad week. Let's just put a line through it. And now
let's put a line through it and say, you know what? There's a whole new week ahead of us, which we absolutely love.
And Spide, it comes to our next little segment, which is put a line through it.
Is it? Yes.
Yeah. All right. So the bottom 4 teams, which is Richmond sitting on the bottom of the ladder. I can't believe that. North Melbourne, West Coast, and Adelaide. All right. So they are all out of contention. So they are Gonski already. Spide currently market has St Kilda to miss the 8. Well, it's not even available price-wise, but $51 to make the 8 for the Saints.
Yeah.
Hawthorn are currently sitting in 13th. They're $5 to make the 8, $1.17 to miss. Gold Coast, $3.80 to make, $1.25 to miss. Western Bulldogs, $2.80 to make, $1.40 to miss. And Melbourne's the only other one teetering, I reckon, there at the moment. They're $3 to make the $8.26 to miss. Spot, is there anyone, like I know you're a long-time Saints tragic and you're a superstar of that football club, and you've played at Hawthorn, to be honest. There's two clubs that you've...
But hang on. There's that, and a lot of people would say I am, but I'm not stupid either. So
you're putting a line through them?
Oh, you got to put a line through the Saints. I don't think, kicking 70 points a game is going to give you a lot of chances towards September. Unfortunately, I just think, the Saints, it's way too hard. When you look at percentages, because for me I look at, even on the points, you've got Collingwood and Melbourne who are, pretty much inside the 8. They're equal 8. And then you got a game behind with Gold Coast Hawthorn, and you got to get percentages. And then you've got to get – so really the Saints have to pick up 3 games in 7 weeks. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You just can't do that. Hawthorn and the Gold Coast got to pick up 2 games because you're going to have high enough percentages. So that's a game within itself, unless you get some really big wins, which you wouldn't expect really towards the back of the year. There'll be a lot of upsets. But for me, I'd be too scared to put my line through the Gold Coast at the moment with how many games they've got at home.
Yeah.
And able to win on the road. I'd definitely the St Kilda. Hawthorn, I've put it in pencil.
Ooh.
Line.
Just so you can rub it out just in case.
I just don't think they will.
The Saints run home spite. So they got the Crows, Eagles, Bombers, Lions, Tigers, Cats, Blues.
And they've got to win all of them.
Yeah. So
they can't drop a game.
Drop 3 minimum.
You're gonna struggle against Brisbane and Carlton.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah. And you got the Cats in there as well, mate, and Essendon.
Yeah.
So I can't see it. For the Hawks, all right. So they run home. Just to give you a little bit. So they got the Dockers this weekend. They got Collingwood, Adelaide over there, Giants up in Sydney, the Blues, the Tigers, and the Kangaroos. A little bit of life possibly if they can win this weekend.
No life. That's a tough run. They first
pencil.
Yeah, I know, but the first 5 there, there are more than 50-50 of them getting done. So no, I don't like that. Gold Coast has got the easiest draw of all.
Yeah, righto. So are we going from pencil to pen for Hawthorn?
Yeah, I'm going from 13 down. Won't make it.
Righto. So Hawthorn, Saints, Crows, West Coast, North, Tigers, all Gonski.
All gone. I'll stick with the Saints. I'll stick with the Gold Coast upwards, mate, for now.
I'm surprised, to be honest, you didn't go further up the ladder and put Fremantle in. You
didn't ask me about that. You just asked me about the bottom ones.
I couldn't do it. I could not do it. Hey, listen, mate, let's have a look at this weekend's round of matches. And it is going to be an absolute cracker. And it starts off Friday night. Collingwood v Geelong at the MCG, 7:40. Head-to-head, the Pies 208. Geelong at $1.75. The line is at -4.5. Now, have a listen to this, all thanks to Barmerbet. Some new stats here, Spide. Some betting.
I love it. I'm a stats man.
Both games last season's total points were over 210 points plus. So the total points this week is 169.5. That's $1.88. That is a play. Jeremy Cameron kicked 4 last week. He has 11 in his last 4 games. So for Jezza to kick 3+ this week, $2.45. And Josh Dacos has had 20+ disposals in 15 out of his 17 games this year. And for him to do that on the weekend or on Friday night again, $2.08. That is giving money away, Spide.
Oh, hang on. Yeah. Look, and look, they will tag Nick, and then you've got Josh off the lead, which is great for punters. For me, look, I find this is going to be a cracking game because I'm not quite, I'm not convinced. I think you've got to be semi-convinced with Geelong. Geelong have proven us over the last couple of weeks, but Collingwood, we know. We know what Collingwood's like when they got their backs to the wall. They're going to be missing a couple of players as well. I don't think, I just think through the middle of the ground, you still got a lot of old quality too in Geelong. A lot of people think, I think Tommy Stewart's been fantastic since he's gone there. He's really changed it up. You still got Dangerfield now starting to really hit his straps, as you said with Jeremy Cameron. I'm going to stick with Collingwood though. I reckon the Pies They need to win. They know what they need to do. They do need to get back to some form that they were in last year. They've still got a couple of players to come back, but this is a good challenge. If Collingwood don't win this is, and we'll probably say it for the next 5 weeks. If this club doesn't win, they're not playing finals. But it's going to be close for the Pies. If they don't win this, they'll be in trouble.
Yeah, I do too. I reckon this is a massive game. Hence why I have made the Pies my lock of the weekend. The Palmer Bet lock of the weekend.
Really?
$2. What are we getting? $2.08. That is,
I think there's good value.
Big crowd, a lot of Collingwood supporters. It'll be game on. The pressure valve will be absolutely huge. I reckon that little Fly would have given him an absolute bake during the week. He'll get them fired up, and they are the lock of the weekend for mine.
I think the interesting watch for this, and I love the in-game same game multis, would be both games last year were over 210 points, so high scoring. Yet it's only 169 and a half. That's 8 goals.
That's it. That is a bet there, right there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Hey, listen, righto. Hawks taking on Fremantle Saturday, 1:45 at UTAS Stadium. Head-to-head with the Hawks. They are at $2.05. Fremantle at $1.77. The line's -3.5 here. And the stats and the bets that we like here, Spide, Hawks are 2 from 2 at UTAS Stadium this year. So Hawks +3.5 at $1.90. You can just take that any day of the week. Josh Tracy kicked 5 last week and has 14 in his last 5 games. So Tracy to kick 3+ goals, $2.55. And John Newcomb has had 25+ disposal in 3 of his last 5 games. And for him to do that again is $1.86, all thanks to Palmerbet. Geez, this is
I don't know.
Tip here, isn't it?
I'm starting to look at, like running through those stats. They're just same game multis straight up. If you took Fremantle, I don't know if you like them at the line or Hawthorn at the line, but if you like Hawthorn because they've got, as we said, they've got the running track record down there, into Tracy to kick a couple, and Newcomb will get 25. It's not a bad little multi. For me, Danny Tassie makes it a whole different story. You just start to think, I can't go past Freo. They're sitting there for a reason. They're sitting, third. They've got a great running game. Their young brigade, their midfield is absolutely elite. And now that they've actually got forwards that are in front, kicking bags of goals, and not just one forward, many forwards. So I'm still going to stick. I'm going to stay with Freo in Tassie.
Oh, mate.
I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I'm just saying that I've backed him to make the grand final and win it.
Hey, I'm actually surprised here. I'm going Hawks. And it's
you tried this last week.
Nah, it's a form at UTAS, right? And I'll tell you what else, Spike. The weather is not looking very, very kind, and I don't think the Dockers boys are going to like.
You think they're a bit pretty?
Yeah, I reckon the cold and wintry conditions down at UTAS on the weekend, I reckon the Hawks will be up and about for this, and it's season on the line kind of stuff for them too. Finals.
Yeah, it is. But no, the Dockers are up. They know what they're doing. If you want a team that doesn't like the cold weather, did you see the Bombers training during the week with bomber jackets on? Now that's embarrassing, I would have thought.
Yeah, mate. I can still remember photos of you back in the day with the old.
No way, short sleeves. I was tough.
Right. Next game, Sydney North Melbourne, Saturday 1:45 at the SCG head-to-head. The Swans at $1.06. North Melbourne at $8.50 spot. The line here is -48.5. The Kangaroos have covered the line in their last 5 games. So North Melbourne line this week +48.5, $1.90. Chad Warner has had 20+ disposals in 16 out of 17 this season. For him to get 25+ this weekend is $2.15. And Hayden McLean has kicked 2+ goals in his last 2 games against North. For him to do the job again, it's $2.90, mate.
Well, you got to jump on that.
We've been touching on the line for the Kangaroos the last 5 or 6 weeks, to be honest. It's been rugged and rough for them. And gee whiz, they're juicy, tasty odds again, but the Swans have lost the last 2 on the trot. Will they bounce back and hit back hard, Spide?
Well, this is it. This is going to see our theory, how good it is. You got to go on form. North Melbourne coming off a good month of footy. Been very stiff in a lot of situations. Got the chocolates last weekend. And, Sydney in not great shape. They're starting to big question marks. But when you've had a couple of really tough games, you just need that one game where you can just out bustle, outrun, use just not your strength, but I suppose your experience throughout certain positions in the ground. You'd expect, I'd be nervous at the line at 48.5, but it is in Sydney. So, yeah, look, there's no doubt Sydney will win this. You have to say Sydney will win this. You can't say North Melbourne, but I would be nervous at 48. Sides just struggle to win by over 10 goals. So, and it doesn't happen as much as we think. So for me, I'd stay with Sydney. The line at 48.5, I'd be nervous at. It'd be around. I reckon they've got it right.
I reckon absolutely spot on, but I reckon the Kangaroos are a bit stiff. 2 on the bounce. Horse wasn't happy last week. You could see that kind of bit his tongue a bit, I reckon, in the press conference. He would have given him a good old-fashioned bake, I reckon, after that. So
I think there's nothing better when they go to Horse in the coach's box and he's on the phone and he just got his mouth covered by his other hand. That's when you know the Horse isn't happy. It's so good.
He's a great coach, that is for sure.
Absolutely.
Big Horse. Right, Western Bulldogs taking on Carlton Saturday, 4:35 p.m. Marvel Stadium. Head-to-head, Bulldogs 2.53. The Blue Bag is $1.52. The line here is minus 12.5. Carlton have scored 100-plus points in 4 of their last 5 games. So Carlton total points plus 92.5. That's $1.87. So they're attacking 480 is good. Harry Mackay's kicked 5 last week, has 10 in his last 3 games. He's in good nick. For him to kick 3 plus $2.35. And they haven't got a lot down back, the Dogs. Ed Richards has had 20-plus disposals in 4 out of his last 6 games. For him to do the same again, that's $1.67. I'm loving these stats, Spide. And
they are.
Right, mate. Same game multis, all these.
Yeah, you can look at different ways of, looking at, Harry Mackay's been really good over the last couple of weeks, but then you've got, you think Rory Lobb might go to him, and then suddenly, because their height factor, their fitness campaign's probably the same, then you got Curnow. So, look, I'm going to stick with Carlton as much as, the Western Bulldogs are a little bit disappointing, and they still need to get out of, they still need to start doing some stuff too. They got a little bit of time. Where are the Bulldogs? They're still in chance with 11th place. So
and
again,
these side Spot, they haven't played since May last year, and the Bulldogs won that game by 20 points. That's a long time between drinks.
It is. And look, as you say, I think midfield, it's going to be a cracking lineup. I think Carlton are really good defensively. I think Carlton's defensive 6 are better than the Bulldogs' defensive 6. And if it's going to be one throughout, with your forward lines, I just think Carlton again, probably a little bit too strong. So Cripps last week was, he's been a freak over the last couple of months. So, I'm going to stick with Carlton.
Brownlow punt, Cripps for mine. He is in scintillating form at the moment. Wiedering, when he got that cork thigh last week, that was the change of the game for mine. So he'll get up with a corky. He'll be back in for the Blues this week, and they'll get the job done against the Bulldogs, Spide.
And that's the hardest thing at the moment when you top line players, and you only need one of them, but they do upset. They upset the whole part, and we'll get to the Suns. They've got a couple of injuries. So this time of the year, you've just got to be so careful of trying to keep your best players out there, especially maybe not now, but in 3 or 4 weeks' time, a lot of clubs are going to find it really hard to say, you know what, do we save our Crippses? Do we save our Heenies? Do we save these blokes? Well, Heaney's right because he's tribunal. He's right. He just has a week off by that. But it's a hard pick, especially with Wiedering. But I'm going to stick with the Blues.
Yep, Blue Bag is to bounce back and get the job done for mine as well. Adelaide v St Kilda, Saturday, 7:30 at the Adelaide Oval, head-to-head. The Crows, $1.47. St Kilda, $2.70. The line betting here is minus 13.5, mate. Saints have gone over the total points 3 of their last 5 games, which is surprising. So they're showing attacking a little bit more. So St Kilda total points over 72.5, $1.90 this week. Jack Higgins has kicked 3 last week. He has 12 in his last 5 games. So for Jack to kick 2 plus, that's at $1.84. And Rory Laird has had 30 plus disposed in 4 out of 6 games. And for him to get the 30 plus, that is currently at $2.40, all thanks to Palmer Bet. Spide.
Yeah, look, again, this is my pick of the round. I think tough game. Yeah, no, not my lock. I find this is the hardest game to pick.
Right. Yep.
Because I just, like you look at the scores, you look who's kicking goals. The Saints were a little bit better going forward last week. They were able to hold Sydney, the best team in the competition. And they've just been, they only just, Port Adelaide just got over them the week before that. So Adelaide found a little bit of form. It's going to be wet conditions. I've already checked it out. I've done my homework because this is where my same game multi is going to come a little bit later on. But for me, I've actually ticked the Saints. The Crows haven't been going that well. The Saints as well, they haven't had a great year, but they just fight it out. They've been able to fight it out, and I reckon that they've got enough. Without Kingy there, their four lines just structured. Membry started getting the ball. Higgins know what he's there to do. Mitch Owen. So, Rowan Marshall, I think it's going to be fascinating to see the All-Australian Ruckman of the Year this year because it will be a great competition and even going up against Vancouver. So I'm going to stick there. Look, I'm going to stick with the Saints just.
Gee whiz. I'm with you, mate. It's a tough one to pick, but I thought the Crows weren't too bad against an informed Brisbane. They do lose a couple of players this week, which is a little bit disappointing. But look, toss the coin. St Kilda got a good little brigade, haven't they? If it is going to get wet, the ball's going to be on the deck a hell of a lot. At home, I'm going to stick with the Crows to win in a very, very tight game. And if that rain comes spied, then maybe you can play along. The Saints maybe not getting the points over. It might be points under.
I don't. I'd look at the total points for both teams.
Yeah,
because they just don't let them score.
Yeah. Righto. Melbourne v Essendon, Saturday, 7:30 MCG. Huge game, this one. The Demons, 246. Essendon, $1.55. The line here is -10.5. Okay, here's the stats and the bets we like.
Go on.
In 3 of Essendon's last 4 wins, they've gone over the total points. The total points over 87.5 this week at $1.91. Kazaya Pickett kicked 3 last week. He has 10 in his last 4 games. For him to kick 2+ goals, $1.91. And Zach Merritt had 30 disposals last week. He's averaging 28 a game. Is Zach, for him to get 30+, $1.85 spied.
I'll tell you what.
Is this a massive game for the Demons or what, mate?
Oh, this is huge. This is what footy's about. And Zach Merritt, you're talking about Brownlow roughies. He's right up. If they continue to win, the Bombers, he's always in the top 3 when they continue to win. So for me, he will be up and around. There's no doubt about that. It doesn't take all 3. Sometimes you can get 2 and 1s because we know that, in other teams, there's a lot of players who can take votes off other blokes. So, huge. You've got to go on form, though. You have to go on form. As much as we sit there in Melbourne, we don't know Gawn's going to going right to the we don't know if he's going to be out. They're going to obviously run test him closer to the day, but
I think he's gone, Spot. I think he's gone for a couple of weeks.
Has he?
Confirmation this morning. So I think he's a massive loss. He's the heart and soul of that club, isn't he?
Yeah, well, they need Grundy back now.
That can happen.
They will, but look, I think at the moment, the Bombers have just got their leg up. There was a massive win from last week, beating somebody who a lot of people gave them no chance. Oh, they only beat the lower sides. This was belief that now they can actually do it. And, they've got every tool it is. Their midfield runs hard. You don't know what Stringer's going to do. 2-metre Peter is always an option up there as well. And then they've got enough jets around that are small enough to make things happen. So Melbourne have been disappointing, I think, this year. Outside of Petrarca, Petrarca, Gawn, Oliver have been, not Oliver, Viney have been really good. Oliver's starting to get into it. We know what May and Lever, when they're together, it's okay. When they're apart, it's not. So they're a long way off from where you'd expect to see them on paper.
Yeah.
We've said it a few times.
Stick with the form. No Gawn, no Melbourne for mine. Bombers to get the job done. Gold Coast v Port Adelaide, Sunday 1:10 at People First Stadium. Head-to-head, Suns $1.62, Port Adelaide $2.30. The line here -8.5. Port Adelaide have beaten the Gold Coast 14 straight times spied. So Port Adelaide at the line +8.5, $1.90. There you go. And Port have gone over the total points in its last 5 games, I should say. So Port Adelaide under 78.5 points at $1.86. Alir has had 15+ disposals in 4 of his last 5 games. For him to do that again, it's $1.68, all thanks to Palmerbet. Huge game here.
Massive game.
Huge game for the Suns. And they'll get the job done, Spot. They'll bounce back, mate, but they have got players missing.
Yeah, well, this is the question too. You sit there and go, oh, you've got to go on stats, you've got to go on form. They haven't lost away. I mean, they haven't lost at home all year. They haven't beaten Port Adelaide for 14 times.
Yeah.
So, which way do you go?
And that's what we said off the top. You've got to take these stats into account, don't you?
Yeah. And it's interesting because you're going with the one at home. I think Tuke Miller's a huge out for them.
Massive.
Tuke Miller's he's a guy who really helps set them up. He's the one who controls things around the stoppage. Yeah, Rao's okayed it. Anderson does exactly the same. A little bit of Flanders, but Tuke Miller is your man. He's your skipper. So if Jared Witts doesn't play, he didn't play last week. Hopefully he's back in this week. And you've got a couple of injuries. Sam Day, who actually, damaging, kicked the first couple of goals. He's done his foot. So he's out. Suddenly, they're going to have Jed Walters, young guy, back into the team. I don't think they'll bring in the experience of, a couple of the other players. So they're going to suddenly start to look a little bit young up forward again. And without the leadership, I think Ali has been in great form. I actually think Port Adelaide. I think what I saw a couple of weeks ago with Horn Francis, he's a freak. And when you've got Butters and Rosie, it's a cracking midfield battle.
Yeah.
But then when you look outside the midfield, I think Port Adelaide probably just got their edge, on the halfback flanks, at the fullback, and in the forward line. So I'm sticking with Port Adelaide to make a major upset.
I'm actually going the power too, mate. You just talked me into it, big fella, to be honest. You're spot on in everything you say. And I think you can't go past that 14 straight times they've beaten them. So they're just, it's their bogey side for the Suns, isn't it? So, yeah, and they've got to win to cement this.
Absolutely. They've got to win. And sometimes you just line up really well against sides. You just match up really well against them.
Righto, Spide. Last two games we'll go through pretty quickly. Richmond v Giants, Sunday, 3:20 at the MCG. Head-to-head, Tigers, 3.90. Gee whiz. Giants at $1.26. The line here is 24.5. Richmond last three losses have been by 40+. So the Giants at the line there at $1.90. Richmond, last four of their five games have gone under the total points. So Richmond total points under 71.5. This week's $1.89. Lockie Whitfield has had 71 disposals in his last two games, 30 and 41. For him to get 30+ again, $1.68. Giants get the job done.
Yeah, Giants get the done down. Absolutely. I think, have a look at all those different stats and the different multis. But, I think the Giants, how much they get done by, I don't know. But, at the same time, they'll get the job done. That's probably the line that I reckon they will cover.
Yeah, I reckon they're home. Don't worry about that.
Five or six goals they'll win by.
West Coast, Brisbane, Sunday, 4:40 at Optus Stadium. Head-to-head, the West Coast Eagles, 4.60. Brisbane, $1.18. The line here is 29.5. Lions have beaten the Eagles by 40+ in their last three games. So Brisbane at the line at that 29.5, $1.90, minus 29.5. West Coast have gone under the total points in four of their last five games. So West Coast under 68.5 this week, $1.86. And Josh Dunkley's had 30 disposals or 30+ disposals in his last three games. To do it again, 245, Spide?
Nah. Stick with Brisbane again. The only thing I'm nervous about here is, of course, Adam Simpson. Leaving, departing, new coach. Can they turn it up? I don't think so. Brisbane too smart. They need the win as much as anyone. So unfortunately, West Coast could be number one draft pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Brisbane hitting a bit of form, and they do travel well, Brisbane. So Brisbane to get the job done pretty comfortably. Right, give us your pick 9 for the weekend, big fella.
All right, my pick 9 is I'm taking the Pies, the Dockers, the Swans, the Blues, the Saints, the Bombers, Port Adelaide, Giants, and the Lions.
What do we got, mate?
That's going to give me 84-41.
84-41, I like it.
There's a couple of good outsiders, mainly Port Adelaide puts a bit of value in it.
I like it. Well, I'll tell you what, I have gone Collingwood, Hawthorn, Sydney, Carlton, Adelaide, Essendon, Port Adelaide. You swung me there. Greater Western Sydney and the Brisbane Lions. And my little pick 9 this week's Spide will get us 54-40, which I'm pretty happy with. And I'm going to have a look at that as well. Now, listen, what do you got? Best bets too, big fella?
Right, these are my best bets for the weekend. I love, lock in September. I think lock in September. You can take at the line, Port Adelaide, Brisbane, and GWS. 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Love it, mate. So
And
lock in September. That's going to be $3.41 spot at Palmer Bet. Love it.
yep.
Next one.
Look, I like Saints v Crows any which way.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So I don't care which way these come in. I just think all these goal kickers are going to score. All of them are going to kick 2. Higgins will kick 2. Membry kick 2. Rochelle kick 2. And Keys to kick 2.
4 of them to kick 2. That's 15.77.
Yeah. Yep. They'll all double up. So I think that'd be a great bet. And the other one, just the underdogs that are a little bit of value. What are they thinking with Collingwood, Saints, and Port Adelaide?
Collingwood, Saints, Port Adelaide. Yep. Just the 3 of them just to win.
Yep.
Right. $6.85.
They're my 3.
Love it, mate. Absolutely love it. Now, I know I haven't been near it. I know I love my Friday night.
Go on. Here we go. Friday night.
Pies to win, mate. Oh, they're my lock. My Palmer Bet lock for the weekend. Josh Dacos, 25+. We heard that stat earlier. He is 15 out of 17 games. Nick Dacos to get 25+. And Bobby Hill, anytime goal scorer, 5.47. Spider.
Yeah. Come on, the Pies.
Hey, listen.
Come on, the Pies.
Download the Palmer Bet app. Get involved. Really simple. And always think about what you're really gambling with. And don't forget the Punters Club 2 spot. It is up and going. She's ready to rock and roll, mate. Get your mates, get involved, and get a Punters Club going with the Palmer Bet boys.
Absolutely. Perfect time. Just heading right into the final series. Perfect time. And then, of course, we know that we've got the Spring Carnival and everything happening. So a great time to get involved. Great time to have a look around. And well, under Palmer Bet, I think there's some really good same-game multis. I'd be going back, having a listening to a few of those and going, you know what? These are worth a bit of a crack at.
I actually love it. I love the
it's
fantastic.
Mate, stats don't lie. Stats don't lie.
Don't lie. Hey, Spide, always a pleasure, mate. And I look forward to catching up next week, big fella.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.